This is a video, part A, for the Unit 4A Circle Test, Test A. So, number one, it says, what is the exact area of the circle with the equation given below? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write the standard form of the equation. So x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared, where hk is the center and r is the radius. So in this particular equation, the center is going to be -1, +4. So that's the center is -1, +4, because it's the opposite of what it is in the equation due to the negative signs. Now, in this case, r squared is actually equal to 39. And it asks you to find the exact area. And so the area formula is pi r squared. I know r squared from the equation. So then area is equal to 39 pi, because r squared is 39. So my answer is A. The next one is, which equation describes a circle with a center of -2 and a diameter of 6? Most people struggle with this one because the diameter is 6, so therefore the radius is 6 divided by 2, or half the diameter, so the radius is 3. So when I go back and I use my formula that I wrote up here in number 1, which is the standard equation of the circle, I'm going to plug in -2 for h, so it's going to become x minus -2 squared plus y minus 7 squared is equal to 9, because r squared is equal to 9. And then I'm going to simplify this a little bit further because I am subtracting a negative, so it becomes x plus 2 squared plus y minus 7 squared is equal to 9. And that's where it comes from. It is the opposite of what your center is in the equation. So I know right off the bat that my choices for a proper or correct equation is either going to be B or D, and the answer is B, because 3 squared is 9. Number 3, it says which equation or which graph best represents the equation of the circle. So again, this is h and this is k, and the standard equation h is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. So from this, I can see that h is going to be +2, so my x value of my center is +2, and my y value, or k, of my center is -1. And then the radius is just the square root of 16, which is 4. So if I go over to my graph, and I'm looking for a center of 2, -1 with a radius of 4. So 2, -1 with a radius of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like A is the answer, because this one is -2, 1 is my center, and that's incorrect. And then here it looks like my radius is bigger, and this one also, it appears that my radius is a little bit bigger, is not 4. So my answer here is A. A lot of what this test was about was knowing the equation of the circle and how it relates to graphs and what each part is. So number 4, it says the graph of a circle has its center at 2, 3 and a radius of 10 units. So I can write an equation of the circle. I can say x minus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared is equal to 10 squared, which is 100. Now it says which point does not lie on the circle. So for each of these points, I have to plug them in for x and y in my equation of the circle that I made. So what that means is it's x minus -4 squared plus -5 minus 3 squared. And if it's equal to 100, it's on the circle. So we're going to see. I'm sorry, it should be -4 minus 2. Okay, so -4 minus 2 is -6 squared plus -8 squared, and that's going to be 36 plus 64, which is going to equal 100. So A is on the circle, so that is not the correct answer. And I keep going. I say 11 minus 2 squared plus 7 minus 3 squared, and I see, is it equal to 100? If it's not, then it's not on the circle. So that would be 9 squared plus 4 squared, which is actually going to end up being 97. So C is not on the circle. And I can keep checking them if I want to. I can say 8 minus 2 squared, so that's going to be 6 squared, plus 11 minus 3 squared, so that's going to be 8 squared. Again, it's going to be 36 plus 64, and that answer is going to be 100, so this one's on the circle, and the same thing applies for D. That's going to be negative 6 squared, plus 11 minus 3, plus 8 squared, and again, it's going to be 100, so the only one not on the circle is C. Number 5, which of the following measurements in radians is equivalent to 60 degrees? So this I am converting degrees to radians, so I'm going to multiply it by pi over 180, and that's just from the fact that we talked about in class that pi in radians is equal to 180 degrees. So this is my conversion factor, and I can cross out the degrees and I'm left with radians. 60 pi over 180, and both of these can be divided by 60, and 60 goes into 60 one time, and 60 goes into 180 3 times, and so your answer here is B, pi over 3. The next one, number 6, it says the exact area of the shaded region and find it. But it's in radians, and in my formula, which is pi r squared, the area of a sector, theta divided by 360, theta is in degrees. So I have to take 5 pi over 9, and I have to multiply it by 180 divided by pi. And so I use my calculator, and I say 5 times 180 divided by 9, and find that my degrees is 100 degrees. So then I plug it into my equation. Pi times 15 squared times 100 divided by 360. And because pi is in my answers, I do not include that in my problem, so I do 15 squared times 100 divided by 360, and my answer is 62.5 pi. Number 7, this is the last one I'm going to do in this part 1 video, is find the appropriate length of arc AB. So arc length is 2 pi r theta divided by 360. So my degrees is in, or my angles in degrees, but notice I'm talking about AB being here. So I'm not looking for 240 degrees, I'm looking for the value of this angle here, which ends up being 360 minus 240, which is 120. So when I plug it in, 2 pi times r times 120 divided by 360, and I plug that into the calculator, and notice there is a decimal answer, so I'm going to just plug in pi. 2 pi times 3 times 120 divided by 360, and my answer ends up being 2 pi, which is 6.3. So my answer is B. And I will continue the test on another video.